My daughter smiled as she introduced me to the guests, but not as her mother. She handed me a white serving apron and whispered that I would embarrass her wealthy future in-laws if anyone learned I owned the little bakery that paid for her entire life. I quietly accepted the apron, cancelled every payment I had promised for the engagement party, and disappeared before sunrise. 12 hours later, her fiancé's family uncovered every lie she had told about her background, and the engagement collapsed in front of hundreds of horrified guests. Before we begin, dear friends, please help me. Your subscription is very valuable to me. Please subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. My name is Margaret. I spent 28 years waking before dawn to knead bread by hand inside a bakery that smelled of butter, cinnamon, and fresh coffee every single morning. Every dollar I earned carried flour across my hands and aching muscles across my back. I never inherited money. I never married into wealth. I built everything with patience, discipline, and pride. My daughter Sofia never lacked anything important. She attended excellent schools. She wore beautiful dresses. She traveled during summer vacations. Every opportunity she enjoyed came from countless mornings when I unlocked my bakery before anyone else in town had even switched on their lights. I never expected repayment. I only hoped she would remember where she came from. When Sofia became engaged to Ethan, everyone congratulated her. Ethan came from an influential family that owned several commercial real estate companies worth millions. His parents hosted charity galas. Their photographs regularly appeared in society magazines. I felt genuinely happy for my daughter. During our first dinner together, Ethan seemed respectful. He complimented my homemade rosemary bread and even asked for another slice. His mother smiled politely, although she barely touched her meal. His father discussed investments while checking expensive watches online between conversations. I noticed these details, but I kept my opinions private. Sofia later insisted everything had gone perfectly. A month before the engagement celebration, she visited my bakery carrying expensive shopping bags and wearing perfume that cost more than my weekly grocery budget. She kissed my cheek distractedly while answering business messages on her phone. Then she unfolded several glossy venue brochures across my office desk. She explained that the celebration needed imported flowers, crystal decorations, live musicians, and celebrity photographers. The estimated cost exceeded $85,000. She looked directly into my eyes and calmly reminded me that I had promised to help. I nodded because I truly had saved money for her special day. I also promised to prepare every dessert using recipes passed down from my grandmother. Guests had requested my famous vanilla bean wedding cake, caramel pecan tarts, and raspberry cream pastries. Those recipes carried generations of family history. I believed sharing them would symbolize love, tradition, and unity between two families. I had absolutely no idea that my greatest heartbreak would arrive not from strangers, but from the child I had sacrificed everything to raise with unwavering devotion and endless hope. The following afternoon, Sofia returned with a wedding planner named Vanessa. They spread fabric samples, seating charts, and menu cards across my bakery table as if they owned the place. Vanessa praised the charm of my recipes, but suggested they should be presented under the name of an upscale catering company instead of my bakery. I assumed she meant branding. I was wrong. Sofia dismissed Vanessa for a moment, closed the office door, and folded her arms across her designer blazer. Her voice became strangely cold. She explained that Ethan's relatives believed she came from a refined family with connections, investments, and generations of success. She claimed they would never understand my modest bakery, or my simple life. Then she smiled awkwardly and offered what she called a practical solution. She wanted me to attend the engagement party wearing a catering uniform. She wanted me to serve drinks, refill dessert trays, and avoid speaking unless a guest asked for assistance. If someone questioned me, I was supposed to say I worked for the event company. She even rehearsed the sentence for me. For several seconds, I simply stared at her. The room became perfectly silent except for the soft humming of the bakery refrigerator. I could smell warm vanilla drifting from the cooling cakes outside my office. My heartbeat slowed instead of racing. Something inside me froze completely. There was no shouting. No tears. Only perfect clarity. I asked one quiet question. Are you ashamed of me? Sofia looked away before answering. She insisted it was only temporary. She promised that after the wedding nobody would care anymore. She said appearances mattered, because wealthy families judged everything. Then she reached into her purse and handed me a neatly folded white serving apron. She had already embroidered the catering company's logo across the front. That tiny detail hurt more than every word she had spoken. She had planned this for weeks. She expected me to accept without protest. I carefully placed the apron back into her hands. I smiled politely and thanked her for explaining exactly how she felt. She seemed relieved by my calm reaction. She hugged me quickly, assumed I had agreed, and rushed away to another appointment. The moment her car disappeared, I locked the bakery doors early. I opened my accounting software and reviewed every payment I had already scheduled for the engagement. $22,000 remained unpaid to florists, musicians, decorators, and rental companies. None of those transfers had been processed yet. I cancelled every single authorization. Then I called my suppliers and postponed every special ingredient reserved for Sofia's desserts. Finally, I packed one small suitcase, switched off my phone, left my spare keys with my trusted bakery manager, and drove 3 hours to the quiet lakeside home of my oldest friend, Helen. She welcomed me without questions. That evening we drank tea on her porch, while the sunset reflected across the water. For the first time in years, I allowed complete silence to answer the disrespect my own daughter believed money could erase forever. The morning of the engagement party, I woke to birdsong instead of bakery ovens. Helen placed a cup of fresh coffee beside me and quietly handed over the local newspaper. My phone remained switched off. I felt no temptation to check it. If Sofia believed I was only valuable when hidden behind a serving tray, then she could discover exactly what my absence was worth. Around noon, Helen's landline rang. It was my bakery manager. She apologized for disturbing me, but thought I deserved to know what had happened. Vendors had arrived expecting final payments. None had been received. The luxury florist refused to unload thousands of dollars worth of imported orchids. The musicians packed their instruments and left. The dessert tables stood empty because my recipes and ingredients never arrived. Panic spread through the ballroom. Then the situation became even worse. Ethan's parents had hired a private investigator after noticing small inconsistencies in Sofia's stories about her upbringing. Within hours they learned the truth. My bakery was real. I was respected throughout the community. Every scholarship donation I quietly funded had been documented. They also discovered that Sofia had repeatedly claimed I was a retired executive living overseas, and that our family wealth came from old investments. The investigator produced photographs of my bakery, business licenses, tax records, and newspaper articles celebrating my community work. Ethan's father reportedly asked only one question. If she could lie so easily about her own mother, what else has she lied about? Nobody answered. Ethan removed his engagement ring, placed it on the reception table, and announced that trust mattered more than appearances. His parents cancelled the celebration immediately and walked out. By sunset, Sofia arrived at Helen's porch with swollen eyes, wrinkled clothes, and mascara running down her face. She fell to her knees and begged me to forgive her. She admitted she had traded truth for status and respect for vanity. I listened without interrupting. When she finally stopped crying, I helped her stand. I told her I loved her deeply, but love without respect becomes permission for cruelty. I explained that she would not move back into my house. She would rent her own apartment, support herself completely, and rebuild our relationship through consistent actions instead of emotional promises. Months passed. Sofia found steady work, paid every bill herself, and volunteered at the bakery each weekend without asking for recognition. Slowly, humility replaced pride. Trust returned one honest conversation at a time. Today our relationship is healthier because it rests on mutual respect instead of obligation. My bakery continues to thrive, filled with the comforting aroma of fresh bread and the laughter of customers who know my name. I no longer measure success by the size of someone's bank account or the elegance of their social circle. I measure it by character. That lesson cost my daughter an engagement, but it gave both of us something far more valuable. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what you would have done.